Okay, does anybody like sharks? Does anybody like shark movies? Does anybody like schlock? This run isn't really for you. Meg 2 The Trench is the sequel to Meg, which was a 2018 film about a giant shark. Now, I have not seen the first Meg. I only saw Meg 2, and I went into it assuming you don't need to have seen the first one. It's just a shark movie. But it kind of does assume that you've seen the first one, because it doesn't really explain what a Meg is. It just kind of goes into it. Fortunately, I have read the book. That's right, this movie series about giant sharks is actually based on a book series. The first book was released in 1997, and I read it in middle school. And it was obvious even then, it was kind of a trashy novel, and it was pretty clear that the guy was like, hey, Michael Crichton turned his book about prehistoric animals into a big movie franchise, so why don't I do the same? And it took him like 20 years, but he was able to do it. So I, went into this movie going, okay, I've read the book. I assume if there's any changes, it doesn't really matter. And honestly, most of the changes that it seems that they have made from the original source material was just to try and market it to China, because there's several characters in this movie who speak Mandarin for a large part of the movie, so it makes sense that they're going for the Chinese market on this one. This movie, it's badly made. It's not just I appreciate schlock for schlock's sake, but it still needs to be competently made. But this movie has confusing action shots where there's missing continuity shots. You'll see him, Jason Statham, beating up some guys, but then it'll cut to a different shot in a different section of this ship that he's on, and there's some other guys that are already beaten up that we haven't seen before that he jumps over, and it was you missed the part where he beat those guys up. There's a bit at the end of the movie where he's got bombs strapped to harpoons, he's got 3 harpoons on his back, and after he's used 2 of the harpoons, there's a shot where you can still see 2 harpoons left on his back, even though he only had 3 to begin with. There's a lot of just really lazy filmmaking in that regard. The science is also garbage, which, that's a minor detail. Obviously, a lot of movies like this, nobody's going into Sharknado going, I wonder if they did their math right on how many sharks can be lifted up by a tornado. Yeah, that didn't happen. So obviously some of this stuff, it's going to be, it's bad science, but you're there to see sharks eat people, right? So that's fine. But there were some stuff in this movie that's so egregious that I still had to point it out anyway. It's because this is called Meg 2 The Trench, and the trench refers to the Mariana Trench, which, as we all know, is the deepest part of the ocean. And this is where Meg and a whole bunch of prehistoric animals live. Basically, there's a thermocline barrier that below which in the trench a bunch of these animals have lived. And the thermocline is a region in the ocean where the temperature drops precipitously. And so, but in this movie, it's kind of like a barrier to another world where nothing can cross other than, humans with advanced submarines. And so holes in the thermocline barrier can cause things to get out. And I haven't seen the first movie, but I gather that's where the first Meg came from, but that's where all these Megs are from. And a lot of the movie is actually set down there. And at one point, Jason Statham has to go swim out to another part of some base that's underwater there without a suit, 5 miles underwater. And I'm just we literally just had the Ocean Gate thing happen. We know that will immediately crush you. And they even try to address it by if you fill your sinus cavity full of water, water doesn't compress under pressure, so you should be fine. And I'm it's not just the air cavities in your body. Your body is not rigid or dense enough to withstand those pressures. Your skull will be crushed by a grape instantly as soon as you go out there. That doesn't work. But again, these movies are kind of, like I said, they're trash. They're meant to be silly. So that bugs me. It might not bug you. It's bad science. It's fine. Another thing that bugs me, though, is because there's a hole that opens in the thermocline barrier, which is what causes all of the Megs. And we don't just get sharks, we get some other undersea creatures showing up. There's a giant octopus who's attacking a kraken. And then they've got these weird, it's they wanted to have their own version of the velociraptor. I don't even remember what they called them, but they're these amphibious kind of lizard dogs that can not only, survive at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, but they can also go up on land and attack things, even though, again, trash science. An animal that can survive 5 miles deep would explode from decompression if they went up to the surface. But I get it. They just want to have a schlocky movie. That's okay. What does bug me, and what I feel like they probably should have addressed, though, is that basically all of the animals that escape from the Mariana Trench once the thermocline hole happens, they all go to like the same beach on an island 60 miles away. And like if they had like a shot where like they say, oh, the ocean current is all taking them here, if they had said that, I'd be like, okay, I can take it. But there's no attempts to explain why all of the animals have decided to attack the same resort beach. It's just they all show up there for the purpose of, okay, we have to have the big third act action set piece and all of the monsters are attacking. It's trash. And another thing that like, obviously it's kind of, lighthearted. They're not trying to make anything too serious, even though it's about sharks eating people. They don't want you to be like, oh, horrified about it. You're supposed to have a good time. But it feels really tonally dissonant because at the end, after they've defeated all of the monsters and saved the people on, I think they called it Fun Island, nobody seems traumatized there. Everyone seems like in awe of the main character heroes, and they're all just like, having drinks with them. They're like kind of celebrating, and I'm just like, a bunch of you just got eaten by a shark and you're all getting drunk and celebrating. I can understand the main character is celebrating because they won, but it just felt a little odd to have everybody doing that. Yeah, this trans girl Jade says, Fun Island sounds so original. Yeah, it was very lazy, but that's the kind of movie that you're going for. Special effects wise, it's fine. The giant animals, they look CG, but they don't look like bad CG. I think everything there looks pretty well done. There's like 3 megalodon sharks here, and each one has a distinct look. And actually, there's like one of the sharks who's like a young version, and was actually like they had saved this shark at the end of the first movie, and so they actually had it in captivity, but then it escaped, and it's kind of treated as like a hero one because it's got like a connection with one of the characters where like it's like in Jurassic World where Chris Pratt's character had the little clicky thing that he could get the raptors to follow his commands. They literally do the clicky thing. They literally have the guy go in the water and use a clicky thing to get the shark to like veer off and not eat him. And that shark is kind of treated as a hero in its own regard, because I don't actually remember us seeing that shark eat anyone. It's never treated as like an ally, but it does like show up to like kill the giant octopus that was attacking everyone. And like it gets its own big action set piece with the octopus where like they even have a bit where it looks like the octopus has killed it and you're like, oh no, but then it like gets a face of determination and like eat it, so it feels like they're like, look, let's have a hero shark in this movie. It's silly. If you absolutely have to see a movie this week, there's other movies out there that have been out for weeks already, but if you've seen all of those and you just kind of want something schlocky and fun, I guess it's fine, but it's pretty forgettable. It's pretty bad. I wouldn't recommend it. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm trying to get my channel monetized, so your view means a lot. Don't forget to toss me a like and subscribe and ring the bell. I stream every Monday and Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific, so catch me live and join in on the convo. You can find all my socials in the description below, and thank you to all my patrons with a special shout out to Piftle Cakes and Ryan D. Your support means the world. Catch you next time.